Ghostface is still right there. I don't know how no one heard him when he was talking to Sydney on the phone, but whatever.
I don't get it.
Hi, I'm Tom Savini, and you're about to watch Terror Reels.
The best thing out of Pittsburgh since Clemente with the Pirates.
What's up, everyone? It's SteelCityDahmer, and we made it, baby. We're at the final installment of the Scream franchise, the night Scream 5 is released. Ow, fuck, I did it again. Scream 3 was terrible, and no one wanted a new Scream movie after that. Just figured 1 out of 3 movies was a turd? That's decent by trilogy standards. Over 10 years after the release of Scream 3, Wes Craven said fuck it and threw down again, which would end up being his last movie before dying in August of 2015. While this movie isn't as good as Scream 1 and can't hold a candle to the horror movie stables that Wes Craven has created earlier in his career, this movie holds its own, and I'm personally okay with this being his last piece of work. I'm glad they made this and continue to make Scream movies so it didn't end on such a bad note. Hopefully Scream 5 holds up to the majority of them. Scream 4 seems like a pretty polarizing movie in the franchise. You either love it or you hate it. Not many in between. A time where remakes and reboots were all in the theaters, but writer Kevin Williamson had to do with what the Scream franchise did best: talk shit on current horror tropes and trends. That 3D Ghostface was pretty fucking dumb, but not as dumb as the opening of this movie. We start the first 10 minutes of this movie watching a stab fake out full of no-name actresses to throw us off the scent. And then we go over to 2 well-known actresses, pay homage to Scream 1 with Drew Barrymore, and then we flash over to the 2 real murders of the movie. Anyways, it's pretty dumb, but there's some blood and gore, so don't worry, I made Yin's a supercut.
Now shut the fuck up.
Not a huge fan of the CGI in this movie, or any movie for that matter. I'm glad they didn't rely on it heavily, and they still use practical effects when needed. But Ghostface is back, baby, and like all remakes, he is darker and more bonkers than ever.
Cut through your neck until I feel bone.
We find the strongest R final girl of any franchise, Sydney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, and her publicist, Rebecca, played by the wonderful Alison Brie from the Community. And they're at a book signing where Sydney is the author of the hour. We flash forward a bit and meet some of our other main characters for the movie. And I must say, these new characters are my favorite characters that they've introduced since the first Scream movie. The characters in Scream 2 and 3 all just felt like body fodder. I never gave a fuck about them, and they were just there to appeal to the masses and to get murdered. We have Jill, played by Emma Roberts, Marielle, played by Olivia Morris, and Kirby, played by Hayden Panettiere? I don't know. On their way to school, but first they get a call.
I asked you a question. What's your favorite scary movie?
Now Sheriff Dewey, played by David Arquette, and Deputy Judy, played by Marley Shelton, and they're in charge of making sure they take all the Scream shit down in this town that's real life Ann Arbor, Michigan, that this town's celebrating. Well, it's in bad taste considering there's been more murders.
One generation's tragedy is the next one's joke.
At the school, we meet our 2 other main character movie nerds of this movie. IRL streamer Robbie, played by Eric Kunsen, and Charlie, played by fucking Rory Culkin.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Bambi.
What you'll notice is that he says the same thing that Ghostface said on her call, but I bet nothing will come of it. Always at Woodsboro High, we find Jill and her boyfriend Trevor arguing in the hallway to point an early finger at the boyfriend being the killer cliche, but this dude is so whack and boring and falls flat, man. And oh shit, that's the Bennett Boys homie Lord Zero in the background. Yeah, fuck my review. Back at the book signing, we find Gail, played by Courtney Cox, giving a room temperature hello to Sydney. Where Gail is, you can bet that Dewey's not far behind. Neither is the entire Woodsboro police.
There's a phone we believe may have been taken from the scene of a crime. Deputy Hicks has traced its location back to these coordinates.
If any of the past 3 Scream movies are any indicator, Ghostface isn't as fucking stupid. Granted, Ghostface typically works as a pair of people, with the exception of Scream 3, but this next scene proves me right. Yo, I love how brave the new Ghostface is. Sydney doesn't seem too scared about this, but she's already killed 5 Ghostfaces. What's another one?
This week marks the anniversary of the infamous Woodsboro murders. 2 girls killed the exact day local celebrity victim Sydney Prescott chose to return to her hometown.
Earlier, we found Deputy Judy flashing some fuck me eyes and fuck me lemon squares at Dewey. Now we find her blocking Gail from going into Dewey's office just out of spite. I'm starting to like Judy, but just in the current slaughter case. And of course, Gail takes the high road.
Your lemon squares taste like ass.
These three girls are at the police station because they got the call from Ghostface earlier. This is also where we learn that Jill is Sydney's cousin. The plot thickens. Later at Jill's house, she goes in the bedroom and we get a bad jump scare from Trevor, but since they're already broken up, fucks off out the window. Sydney tells her to lock up her window. We find Deputy Judy just fucking standing there in the shadows like a fucking weirdo.
Sorry about that.
They led Officer Ross, played by Adam Brady, and Officer Anthony Perkins, played by Anthony Anderson, outside to keep their eyes on this place. I'm sure nothing will go wrong for them. Back in the house, Kirby and Jill laying on the bed watching Shaun of the Dead. Knowing that Marielle is home by herself, they decide to prank call her.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Yo, the fact that Sydney's in the other room and you're pulling this shit is fucked up. I guess teens will be teens. Trevor calls, but he was already kicked the fuck out, so Kirby is not trying to hear that shit. She thinks the dude on the phone's playing around, but he gets to the what movie question and drops this.
Because I'm standing in the closet.
You better get the fuck out of there. Don't open that closet. Oh shit, I did not see that coming. Nicely played. Yo, Ghostface fucks Marielle up. Sydney hears the commotion and runs to get the police, but they're gone. She runs into the house and tries to save the day, but does she make it in time? Yo, this Ghostface ain't fucking playing around.
Welcome home, Sydney. Preview of coming events.
Of course Sydney shit talks Ghostface, and why wouldn't she? But this time, Ghostface has stepped up to brutality even in his phone call. Jill comes to see what happened. Their heart-to-heart didn't last long because Ghostface is still right there. I don't know how no one heard him when he was talking to Sydney on the phone, but whatever. Sydney and Ghostface tussle around the house, and I could watch Sydney kick Ghostface's ass all day. The cops finally get to the ruckus, but he's gone, and Jill is pissed and thinks this is all Sydney's fault. Of course, the angry boyfriend comes right in after all the chaos because Scream has a playbook, and it sticks by that playbook like it was written by fucking Bobby Knight. I don't know how these cops still have their jobs. They had one job, but somehow all this shit happened. Gil notices these two nerds, and she thinks she can probably get some insight from them.
What if we could catch the killer by working together? 2 generations of cutting-edge journalists intertwining our passions for media. What'd you say?
That would have worked on me at that age too, and at my current age. After visiting Sydney in the hospital and getting fired, Rebecca storms off to the car in the parking garage, but of course she gets a phone call from the Ghostface.
I've got time. It's you that doesn't.
She gets into her car and of course she's following the keys, and the car's having a hard time turning over. Somehow the car didn't see this, but Ghostface is gone, so she scurries off the stairs. But of course, every parking garage I've ever been to is fucking shitty, and the handle rips off. Got him. Sheriff Dewey's holding a press conference outside the hospital. Ghostface thinks this party's a bit lame and decides to liven things up a bit.
Get up to the top of the structure! Go, go!
R.I.P. little Annie Adderall. This Ghostface is much more brutal and I love it. And I'm sure I'll mention that a few more times by the end of this video. We flash over to Charlie leading a high school movie group with Sydney as the guest of honor.
Beyond Jamie Lee Curtis, forget Linda Blair. I mean, this is the ultimate.
I agree. Charlie and Robbie are new Randy of the film, but they're here to bring modern rules and ideas into the horror realm.
You want to be the new version. The killer should be filming the murders. It's like the natural next step in a psycho-slasher innovation.
He's not wrong. Who wouldn't watch that movie?
Before you get caught, you upload them into cyberspace. Making your art as immortal as you.
Pretty good point.
So the reversals become the new standard. In fact, the only surefire way to survive a modern horror movie, you pretty much have to be gay.
I don't think that's how that works, Charlie. These two guys are just like Randy, thinking real life is just like the movies. Especially Robbie with his 24/7 IRL streaming. We also learned that they're having a Stabathon party tonight, which is hella disrespectful. But I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't go to some shit like that.
Holy shit. Even if I did just crash land on planet Orc.
Which is hella disrespectful. You're telling me the town I live in has a murder history that spans like 6 or 7 stab movies, and the killer's back, and they're having a party watching all the movies? You're not gonna go? You're fucking lying to me if you're saying you ain't gonna go. They even have balloons with Ghostface masks on. If there's any of this floating around in real life, and there has to be. If you get a lead on it, let me know. Of course, Gail infiltrates the Stabathon by hiding her identity in the Ghostface mask and putting cameras up everywhere.
Cinema Club thanks you for coming out for our 3rd annual Stabathon.
Safety numbers, my friend. Safety numbers.
Yo, look, Terry pops off. Say I make some money on this. I'm gonna hold movie events like this. A movie marathon party in the middle of the woods sounds like a great idea. Even if a maniac killer tries to fuck up the party, it's still gonna be a good fucking time. Gail puts a few more cameras around the barn and then sits in her car to watch the live stream. But someone's going to camera and blocking the view. Sure is a shame that Ghostface didn't stab her when he had the chance, obviously watching her. She calls Dewey to get his ass the fuck over here. Gail ninja her ways back inside the barn and begins to fix her camera. Dewey rolls up to the party and finds Gail's car, finds a screen that's playing all the camera feeds, and he even sees Gail fucking with her cameras.
Gail! Gail, behind you!
Ghostface swings a knife at her a few times but misses. Then Gail throws some hay at him and almost gets away. But Ghostface gets a good grip on her hand. Of course Ghostface gets away. We're halfway done with this movie. Ghostface has some cameras up there and he's taking the production of Stab Whatever into his own hand. We flash over 2 cops sitting outside making sure nothing's happening at Cindy's aunt's house. Deputy Haas is making his rounds, and he notices a window's open, and radios his partner to see what's good, but of course he doesn't respond. No! Yeah, that was kind of fun. You want to know what's even better?
It's rookie.
What the fuck?
Yo, I know when Wes Craven was writing this scene, this murder was based on real-life murder of someone dude getting stabbed in the head, but holy fuck, how do you not die from that?
Fuck Bruce Willis.
Sure, I guess that's something good you want on your tombstone. Then you hear some commotion and a decent-sized knife, only to get jump-scared by her aunt, who's going grocery shopping hell late to probably avoid all the dum-dums out in general society. But then the phone rings.
I have one question for you. What good's it to be a survivor in this little drama if everyone close to you is dead?
Savage. Ghostface tells Sydney to turn on the news, but the news is reporting about the stabbing of Gail Weathers. Sydney runs up to Jill's room, only to find that she's dipped and left to go to the Stabathon party. They leave to go get Jill and Kirby, but they finally get the door closed, but Auntie Prescott gets stabbed in the back through the fucking mail slot. You thought he was going to go after Jill, but he was after your aunt this whole time. Sydney sees someone running by the window and chases them towards the door. Sydney tells Judy the killer is there, and of course when she goes to investigate, and all she finds is a dead body. We flash over to Jill hanging out with the movie nerds and Kirby, and the movie nerds are dropping some new modern knowledge for all of us to follow.
This is what the reboots do. They one-up the original ending.
The Woodsboro murders ended at a party, so in the remake,
The party's the false ending. New rules.
Charlie's impressed with Kirby's horror collection of knowledge. He even quizzes her on some pretty basic horror knowledge, and she blows it out of the water.
Did you feel that? That charge that moved between us just then?
You better wipe her up. Glowing-ass Trevor pops out of nowhere, and he wasn't even invited. He says that Jill invited him, but it was Death from Ghostface setting him to the 3rd act of this movie. Nobody's really stoked that he's here, and they're all pretty suspect about it. Charlie finally has Kirby alone, and since he's been chasing that tail all movie, he's not gonna let this go to waste. Robbie is drunk outside filming for his YouTube shorts, but guess who shows up? Oh my god. Good job, dummy, and you don't have to look around because no one is outside to see you yet.
Hey, guys, did you see Jill? Come in. I didn't see her outside.
Jesus, Trevor's the worst. He's stoked his stab is on and decides to intrude even more. He better not be the killer because I hope he gets brutally murdered.
who invited you, Trevor?
Robbie continues drinking and streaming outside until he finally runs into Ghostface. Ghostface just stabs him in the stab shirt a bunch of times, and Robbie pleads for his life.
I'm gay. I mean, if it helps.
Yo, I told you that's not how it works. Kirby hears the shenanigans and goes to investigate. She was about to open the door, but Jill stopped her and started babbling on about her phone. No one knows where Trevor went. Hopefully he's murdered too. They go look and...
Run!
Oh shit! Ghostface busts through the door and grabs Sydney on the steps, but Sydney kicks this dude so fucking hard. He flies over 8 steps before even hitting the ground. He's airborne. Sydney distracts Ghostface and leads him onto the lower roof outside. She finally gets a hold of Dewey and tells him where she is, and...
Okay.
Sydney!
She lands in the grass and then books it back in the house and meets up with Kirby and they run in the basement.
No, I just found Robbie. This is his blood. Please
Please.
Look, I know you inside a moment, but don't let him in. Damn, don't listen to me. I thought for sure he was the killer. Porch light comes on, and he's tied up like Drew Barrymore's boyfriend in the opening scene of Scream 1. It's similar callback to the original movie. Ghostface asks Kirby a simple question.
Name the remake of the groundbreaking horror movie in which the villain...
Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, Dawn of the Dead, The Hills Have Eyes, Amityville Horror, Last House on the Left, Friday the 13th.
Maybe you should let him finish before answering the question, but you did show some chops, and I respect the fuck out of that. Well, Charlie didn't get gutted, so apparently all those answers are the right one. Kirby goes to untie Charlie and...
Kirby, this is making a move.
Charlie, you motherfucker. Kirby never dies on screen, so I'm hoping she makes an appearance in Scream 5, which I'm probably watching as its premiere. We cut back to Sydney searching throughout the house. She gets away from Charlie, only to be stabbed by another ghost face. What a good twist. It's something I did not see coming when I first saw this movie. I figured that Sydney was going to be murdered and Jill was going to be the last survivor to carry on the story. Well, that's what Jill wanted, but overall, since there's about 20 minutes left in this movie, I'm sure it doesn't go as well as she wanted to. And of course, Charlie pulls out a taped up Trevor, who they're going to pin the murders on.
Mind you of anything?
And then Jill shoots Trevor in the dick before pulling a bullet in his head.
Keeping with our remake theme, Trevor's this generation's Billy Loomis. And we're the innocent victims, Sydney and Randy.
These two twisted lovers think they have everything in the bag as they brag and boast on how slick and smart they are. Jill blames all this on Sydney because all the attention that Sydney got fucked up Jill's life somehow.
Well, now I'm the special one.
Another homage to the first movie, Jill and Charlie have a plan to stab each other a bunch of times, just like Billy and Stu did.
Lord! That's not the way we rehearsed it.
You said it, Charlie, Billy, and Stu. Trevor and you.
Should have known from the playbook that Jill was going to be overzealous with a knife and ends up killing Charlie.
What world are you living in? I don't need friends. I need fans.
Hell yeah, I don't need friends, I just need fans too. So subscribe and do all that YouTube shit, like it, comment, all that. Jill continues to be a brat about the whole situation, and she thinks she's about to start the new Stab franchise.
There's only room for one lead, and let's face it, your ingenue days, they're over.
No, not Sydney. Well, since I know that she's in Scream 5, I know that she's not dead. This movie came out a decade ago, but even back then I knew she wasn't really dead. You can't kill Sydney Prescott. Jill starts to set up the scene for the cops to find. She makes Trevor fuck up her face and even gets a fistful of hair. It even goes as far as... And if you didn't think that was gnarly enough... Holy fuck! Damn bitch, calm down. We get it. You're actually gonna kill yourself, and all this would have been for nothing. Jill passes out next to Sydney as we hear police sirens pulling up from the outside. As Jill is being carted in the ICU, she is being swarmed by the media, the one thing she really wanted. Dewey just happens to be in the room as Jill wakes up, and Jill starts putting on the waterworks for Dewey, even playing on his heartstrings a bit and asking about Gail.
They're not sure yet. It's still touch and go. But she's in ICU. And they think Sydney just might make it.
Oh shit, did you plan it? I bet you didn't. She yanks all of her medical shit off and goes to find Sydney so she could tie up all her loose ends. Dewey goes to see his wife, but Gail brings up a good point.
Why, she was stabbed in the shoulder? How did she know I was too?
Good policing there, Sheriff Dumb Shit.
You just won't die, will you? Who are you? Michael fucking Myers?
Nice shout out. Jill hops on top of Sydney and begins choking her, but Sydney isn't a bitch and starts gouging her eyes out, causing them to tumble to the ground. They continue tussling around in the room, and nobody hears anything.
How are those stitches?
Dewey barges in the room for the rescue, but Jill has other plans. She grabs Dewey's gun, and like every murder in the franchise, continues to babble on until something interrupts her from just finishing the fucking job.
God damn it! Oh.
Damn. Deputy Jeannie is erased from saving her crush's wife from a speeding bullet.
Don't even think about shooting, or I'll blow Dewey's head off.
And no one wants that. So Judy tosses the gun over to Jill as Sydney is starting to put another plan together. Jill forces Gail to get up and continues to yak while being set up for a pretty funny murder.
Clear. Clear?
Clear.
Oh, you dumb bitch. You should have seen that coming.
Don't fuck with the original.
Hell yeah. That's a Sydney we all know and love. I love a little bit of smoke that came out of Jill's ear, but of course, she ain't dead. Well, you are now, because nobody can take Sydney down. And Judy is still alive, too, because you know, cops have bulletproof vests. Judy calls in for more police, and we end this movie with the media telling the story that Jill wanted all along.
Jill Roberts of Woodsboro, a girl who's lifted all our spirits tonight, an American hero, right out of the movies.
That honestly seems like a pretty reasonable in the realm of possibility. And there you have it, Scream 4, a great installment into the franchise, especially after Scream 3. Scream 5 was released today, and hopefully I'm watching it while you guys are watching this. I want to thank everyone who went on this Scream Marathon with your boy SteelCityDahmer. I got a bunch of one-offs coming your way that you don't want to miss, so make sure you subscribe if you're new here. I'm gonna catch you later. Hell yeah.
Shout out to Pittsburgh juggalo-based horror show on YouTube called Terror Reels. Terror Reels, Terror Reels. It's real, real terror. Real, R-E-E-L, R-E-A-L. Terror Reels. Terror Reels. Hey, dog will hunt. Get that bitch. You dented my plate. My brain is burning. Terror Reels. Goodbye.